Hi, I'm Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan. Since 2014, Akron has been under one of the strictest federal consent decrees in the country. This means we have been tasked with completely overhauling our combined sewer overflow system with the goal of drastically cleaning up our waterways. To date, we have completed 23 out of 26 required projects, with one more currently under construction. And listen, while we are incredibly proud of our work to clean up our environment, these projects have come at a massive and inequitable cost. It's no secret that Akron's sewer bills have skyrocketed, and for many of our most vulnerable residents, the cost is simply too high. At every available opportunity, I've worked to mitigate the incredible burden on our ratepayers. So far, we've been able to save $142 million with our first two amendments. Through the strong work of our Public Service and Akron Waterways Renewed staff, we have another opportunity to reduce that burden through a third proposed amendment. To maintain our commitment to clean water objectives and our obligation to protect our ratepayers, we have submitted another proposal to the U.S. EPA to make changes to our two remaining projects, which would provide the same essential environmental benefits, but save ratepayers an additional $140 million. However, despite the detailed technical and financial justifications supporting Akron's proposal, Akron recently received word that the U.S. EPA will not support it. Now, as we work through that dispute resolution process with the EPA, I am also submitting a letter to the administrator of the U.S. EPA and White House officials. And today, I'd like to read to you parts of that letter. Dear Administrator Regan, frankly, I am disappointed by the U.S. EPA's response to Akron's proposed modification. Its failure to consider how its decision results in direct, disproportionate, and needless impacts to Akron's disadvantaged communities, and really specifically to communities of color. Our financial analysis shows that the consent decree already imposes a very high financial burden to all of Akron's ratepayers and has required a sewer rate increase of 269%. Our projections for the cost of the final required consent decree projects result in a 2.46% of Akronites' median household income being spent on these projects. Now, for Akron ratepayers in the lower 20% income bracket, the figure balloons to a staggering 9.5% of their median household income. We cannot and should not have to ask Akron's most vulnerable residents to shoulder a disproportionate burden for sewer infrastructure that is simply not needed to meet our water quality obligations. When asked about the basis for the denial, the U.S. EPA refused to answer our questions around equity. This refusal runs counter to President Biden's Executive Order 14008 and the clean water provisions of the Justice 40 guidance. If disproportionate impacts to our city's most vulnerable residents will not be considered in an agency's decision-making process, I'm afraid those commitments are mere words on paper and really another failed attempt to have government work for all instead of just the very few. Sincerely, Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan. Listen, if you feel as I do that the U.S. EPA needs to reconsider their position regarding our proposal, I encourage you, please get involved. We'll be sharing a letter that you can send to Administrator Regan. Please visit www.akronwaterwaysrenewed. Let me repeat that. That's www.akronwaterwaysrenewed.com to submit your letter and let your voice be heard. Thanks and take care.